Hello guys and welcome back. So in this video we are going to be working with attacking really. So we're going to be working with how we can attack using key press. Okay, we're essentially going to be starting out how we can attack using key presses. Okay, so as you can see I've laid out the contents for this video. We're going to have the create a game object first. We're going to cover how to create a game object and then create something called prefab. Now, you may be wondering why exactly am I going to be working on creating a game object where we have already created a player, we know how to create an object. I wanted to show you guys how we can create a game object from the very scratch in Unity. So this game object that we're going to be creating is going to be our our bullet, okay, the item that we are going to be attacking with. And from there on we're going to be moving on to something called prefab, and we're going to be learning what a prefab is and why it is really useful. So let's jump on to Unity. So we have created a player, we have a background in the game, okay, and obviously we have the main camera. And if you guys remember, the player was created by just dragging over the one of the PNGs, okay, one of the files from here. Okay, we just dragged it. We can leave an item here or we can leave it on the screen. Doesn't really matter why we leave it. We can create an object like that, okay. But this is not how we're going to be creating today, okay, because I want to dive a bit deeper, okay, into how the game objects work. Like we have kind of used the transform, we have used rigid body for the player's movement, we have added scripts. So we're going to be creating an empty game object, empty game object, and we are going to be learning how and what these components do. So what I want you guys to do now is create right click on the hierarchy anywhere really, so in an empty space, not on this player or the background or the main camera, okay, just an empty space, right click and select the option create empty, okay, create empty. Now this will create a game object for you, okay. So the reason I'm doing this video is because I want you guys to know what a game object looks. So if I just leave it like that, just press enter, we have a game object. We can't really see it, okay, no matter how zoomed in I am, you're just going to be able to see a circle, but this is not going to be rendered. What I mean by that is when you play the game, okay, you won't have a visible object on your level. Okay, that is because it is just there. It is just an empty great game object, and this is actually quite a useful feature. We'll see how it is useful in the future videos. But for now, we don't really necessarily want an empty game object. So I want this game object to be the bullet. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to rename this to be my bullet. Okay, so I'm going to right click on the game object, rename it to my bullet. Okay. Now, just renaming it to bullet won't really make it appear magically, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to learn how we can actually make it render onto the screen, okay? So if you have a look around the right of your screen, this is the inspector side, okay? So in this inspector, you see this empty object bullet just has this transform component. Now, I haven't really mentioned or went into details of what a transform is, but we have kind of used it, and I'm a big fan of using items first before learning about it. Now, as you are being guided, it's more likely that you're not going to be making a mistake. Okay, so I think it's better whenever you're learning something is to use it in a guided manner. So you guys have used transform in a bit. Okay, you guys seen how you can move an object using this transform component. Okay, and by now have a fair idea how you can scale an object up or down. How you can move the position of an object, okay. So every game object that you create comes with this transform component. This essentially helps you make an object move, okay, or position it. Now what I need now, okay, is to be able to render this bullet onto the game. And for that, we need the Sprite Renderer, okay? If you think back to a couple of videos ago, we did work on the Sprite Renderer. I kind of mentioned that it has this color. They can change. Also, this order in layer, really important because this allows you to display something in front of another object, okay? So we're going to be adding that by ourselves. So I'm going to click on the bullet object, press this Add Component button, and then type up Sprite Renderer. If you just type up RE, you'll get Sprite Renderer. Okay, so first type up Sprite space RE, you'll get Sprite Renderer. Okay, and that would be added for you. Now we have looked at the color, okay, before, and we also know the order, what order in layer does. Okay, so this we are familiar with this property and the color property. Okay, so the player is on order layer 1, okay, and the background is on order layer 0. So at the very beginning, just the background will be drawn. On top of it, we'll have the player, and I want the bullet to be on the same layer. So I'm going to have the order layer set to 1. Okay, so player and the bullet would be on the same layer and won't be hidden behind the background image. There, we still don't see the image rendered. That's because we don't actually have an image. Okay, an image is called sprite. Okay, so the sprite renderer has this sprite property, okay, sprite field. What you want to do is you can either from the neon shapes folder or the other folder that that you have, if you've downloaded it, you can go to the PNG file, okay, and then click on the bullet and just drag one of these onto the sprite, okay, like this, kind of like, so if I just want to use this blue circle, I can just hold it and place it on the sprite, and you can see how now it gets rendered. So Sprite Renderer helps you render a sprite, okay, but you have to first give it a sprite. There's another way to do it if you're struggling to find the neon shapes or for whatever reason. You can just click on here, and this is true for large projects where you have like hundreds and I don't know, like a lot of items, and if for some reason you're struggling, although this would be the more organized way to find items, but you can add items by just clicking on this circle here, and that opens up and shows how many well, basically all the sprites that you have available for you to use. Okay, I'm going to be using not this one, actually I'm going to be using the green circle. Okay, so double clicking allows you to select it, and we already have learned about how we can scale things down again, and that is done using the transform component. Okay, so I'm going to change the scale from 1 to 0.1 for X and 1 to 0.1 for Y. We don't need to really worry about Z because obviously it's not a 3D game, so we don't need to worry about it. Okay, by the way, just by looking at that, you may have a good guess about what Unity really is. It's essentially it started out as a 3D engine, okay, but obviously it can be used as 2D, and now it's widely used as 2D platform, 2D gaming engine as well. But essentially everything you see in this like everything here, they are kind of built for 3D first. Okay, anyway, so that's my bullet. We are just starting towards making the bullet, and then obviously going to be attacking it or like shooting it, okay, but we're not going to be doing that today, in this video rather. Okay, so we have this bullet object. It gets rendered. If I launch, it should be rendered now onto the screen. Okay, you can see how it is there. Now what I want next is to be able to spawn, okay, that is create these bullet objects at will. We want to spawn these bullet objects whenever we press the space bar or any key of our choice. Okay, now for that we have to learn about this concept called prefab. Okay, prefab. Now in Unity, we often, like in a game, we often create items on the fly. For example, when you're attacking, okay, and this is a good example of that. When we're attacking, we need to spawn these items. Then you want to, let's say, like magical orbs or like anything that you want to spawn on the fly. They are essentially prefabs. Okay, prefabs are game objects that you can spawn using code. Now we like when we are playing, right, we can't be dragging items from this assets folder to the game, right? We can't do that. So we need to make a way, we need to have a way so that we can spawn items as we code, okay? So that is, well, prefab helps us out there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on the assets folder here, okay? And just I'm gonna right click and then create a folder. I'm going to name it prefab. Creating a prefab is actually really easy. You don't necessarily have to create a folder named prefab. It just makes things more organized. Okay, so I'm going to go into prefab folder. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this bullet object. Okay, have a look, and place it inside this prefab folder. Okay, the moment I let go, you would notice this bullet game object would change colors. Okay, not in the game view, just in the hierarchy. Okay, so let's have a look. So the moment I let go, it turns into this bluish 3D cube. Well, kind of looks like the 3D appearance. Okay, and you can see this kind of tells you that this is a prefab now. Okay, so this is the way to know that this is a prefab. I'm going to go ahead and actually delete this prefab for the moment, just to segue into another topic. Okay, so you don't create a prefab and you don't necessarily need to place it in, especially in a case like ours, where we will be playing our game, but the bullets won't necessarily be on the game when the game starts. Instead, when we press a key, these prefab objects would be spawned. Okay, and that would be done using scripts. Okay, so we'll start doing that in the future videos. For this one, this is where we're going to be stopping. Okay, so we would have we have learned about the prefab, like how we create a prefab object, and also we have learned how we can create an item, a game object from the very scratch using a sprite renderer and also a transform. I'll see you guys in the next video.